In the first 2 weeks of January 2026, Russian General Valery Gerasimov claimed his forces seized over 300 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory. The Institute for the Study of War verified just 73 square kilometers. That is about 1/4 of what the Russian military command reported. This gap between Kremlin claims and battlefield reality tells a story. Something is changing on the front lines. Russian advances have slowed by roughly 70% compared to late 2025, and in one key sector, Russian mill bloggers are now publicly contradicting their own generals, calling official claims not only inaccurate, but not even close to the actual situation on the ground. Moscow's plan for 2026 was straightforward: maintain offensive pressure, accept heavy casualties, and grind Ukraine down through attrition. The Kremlin believed that raw numbers would eventually overwhelm Ukrainian defenses. Russia has the larger population, the larger economy when put on a war footing, and it has demonstrated a willingness to absorb extraordinary losses. According to a January 2026 study by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Russian forces have advanced just under 50 kilometers toward Pokrovsk since February 2024, at an average pace of only about 70 meters per day. In the Chasiv Yar offensive, that rate dropped to approximately 15 meters per day. For comparison, CSIS notes that Russia's Pokrovsk offensive has advanced slower than Allied forces at the Battle of the Somme in World War I, one of the most grinding offensives in modern history. Russia expected these slow gains to accumulate. Instead, the data suggests a different trajectory. The Institute for the Study of War documented a sharp decline in Russian territorial gains entering 2026. Between December 1st and 17th, Russian forces expanded their presence in roughly 276 square kilometers. Between December 17th and 31st, that number dropped to 89 square kilometers. From December 31st to January 13th, it fell further to just 73 square kilometers. That is a decline of more than 70% in about 6 weeks. ISW attributes this slowdown to harsher winter conditions that have complicated Russian infantry infiltration tactics and the end of pressure to meet arbitrary end-of-year deadlines set by Russian military command. The situation in Kupiansk illustrates the problem. According to ISW, despite Russian claims of control, Ukrainian forces liberated most of the city by mid-January. Ukraine's Katia Brigade released footage on January 12th, showing them raising the Ukrainian flag over the city council building. Ukrainian Joint Forces Task Force spokesperson Colonel Viktor Trehubov reported on January 10th that preliminary estimates put remaining Russian forces in Kupiansk between 50 and 60 soldiers. Ukrainian forces have cut logistics lines for Russian troops in the city. According to ISW, Russian forces are now being resupplied by drones rather than conventional methods. Ukrainian regimental commanders report that Russian forces are suffering significant manpower and vehicle losses due to winter conditions and Ukrainian defenses. The casualty figures are extraordinary. According to the January 2026 CSIS study, Russia has suffered nearly 1.2 million casualties since February 2022, including an estimated 325,000 deaths. The report describes this as more losses than any major power in any war since World War II. Combined Russian and Ukrainian casualties may reach 2 million by spring 2026, according to CSIS projections. Ukraine has suffered between 500,000 and 600,000 military casualties, including up to 140,000 deaths, according to the same study. These losses are reshaping Russian military structure. Ukrainian military analyst Konstantin Mashevets reported, according to ISW, that Russian forces have abandoned forming divisions according to pre-war structures. Instead, they are creating assault infantry and light vehicle units with limited armored vehicles and minimal logistics support. ISW assesses this reflects wartime equipment losses and the tactical shift toward massed infantry assaults over mechanized operations. ISW also reports that Russian forces are unlikely to generate a surplus of over 70,000 troops in 2026 to form a strategic reserve. This means Russia cannot easily pivot to major new offensives. Meanwhile, the information environment is fracturing. Russian mill bloggers have openly criticized the practice of sending what they call beautiful reports to higher command. One Kremlin-affiliated mill blogger stated that claims about Kupiansk do not even come close to reflecting the actual situation on the ground, and that Russian forces have not controlled the city for a single day. The data does not suggest Ukrainian victory is imminent. Ukraine faces severe manpower constraints and continues to suffer from Russian strikes on its energy infrastructure. According to CSIS, Ukraine's energy system can now meet only 60% of national demand. But the numbers do challenge the Kremlin narrative that Russian victory is inevitable. ISW assesses that Russian gains will likely continue to be slow and grinding and unlikely to lead to a quick collapse of the Ukrainian front line. What to watch? Whether Russia can regenerate combat power faster than it is being destroyed, whether the gap between official Russian claims and the battlefield reality continues to widen, and whether Ukrainian forces can maintain their defensive positions through the spring. The war of attrition continues, but the arithmetic may be shifting.